So yeah, so we've heard who? TK Kirkland, right? Joe Budden and Dr. Umar, and also a couple of internet people, right? People with perspectives on them. Those are all sources. Now, what did we say that when we're looking for truth, what do we look at, right? We look at authority, currency, content, accuracy, and bias. So clearly, out of those five, uh, we clearly heard a bias, right? Because they seem to be biased against Jada Pinkett, right? Are they an authority figure on them? Some of the facts might have been a little bit skewed, to say the least. But we're gonna see here in a minute, right? We're gonna get down to what it is, and what the objective facts are. The last person um, I want you guys to hear, because it's three people really. When you think about this whole thing, it's not just Pac and Jada; it's Will as well. That's maybe the reason why I kept saying Will, because he's just as much a part of this as they are. Because they seem to totally emasculate Will when it comes to Tupac. There's this weird dichotomy that exists between Will and Tupac. And I think, again, that's part of Will's struggle. And you'll see in this next clip I'm going to play. But we push up this thug image of Tupac when really Tupac was an intelligent dude. He went to a Baltimore School of the Arts. He wasn't no cat off the streets. 50 talked about that. He talked about Pac and Prodigy. Prodigy was much the same of Mobb Deep. But there's this dichotomy. We celebrate this thug almost like how we celebrate the athlete, and the good guy image, the guy who's, doing all the right things, or at least keeping his image clean, trying to stay in line, trying to, do certain things. He gets downplayed. He's a punk. People say stuff like the good guy finishes last. Well, that's a mentality. And people, I don't know if people think of how that mentality or how that psyche affects the quote unquote or said good guy. You understand what I mean? I don't know how that affects it, but I think with Will Smith, I know with Will Smith, because he spoke about it in his book. He talked about the Fresh Prince, which was the nice guy who was never going to not say no to an autograph, who was going to be sometime against his own benefit, super open with his time. And then you have the general. I remember it was the general. The general don't care about none of that. The general needs to get the job done. Boom, he's straightforward. But I think that dichotomy is super duper relevant, and it's something that should be looked into. But nonetheless, I wanted to bring Will to the stand and let you guys hear what Will said. Will is going to be the last. Will is going to be the last witness that I bring to the stand before we get into what actually Jada had to say in Worthy regarding her relationship with Tupac and everything surrounding it. So now on Joe Budden, Will said he felt emasculated, remember? He said as much on the Breakfast Club, how he felt, emasculated. So let's listen and see what Will actually has to say about that. See how emasculated Will actually felt.
Were you ever jealous of the love Jada had?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I know you
oh
say
my
no.
God, that dude. Let me, and that was in the early days.
Yeah,
that was in the early days, and it was like, that was a big regret for me too, because I could never open up to interact with Pac, and because we had a little bit of a thing, right? Because they grew up together. And they loved each other, but they never had that. They never had a sexual relationship. But they had come into that age where now that was a possibility. And then Jada was with me, So Pac had a little thing on that, but she just loved him like he was the image of perfection. But she was with the Fresh Prince, So it was like. I never could, like, even we were in a room together a couple times. I couldn't speak to him, and he wasn't going to speak to me if I wasn't going to speak to him.
Really? It seemed like y'all would have so much in common.
No, that's what Jada would say all the time. She was like, "I'm telling you, y'all are so similar. You will you love them. And I just never, you know, that was a huge regret of mine. I just didn't. I couldn't handle it. You know, I was the soft rapper from Philly, and he
Right.
was Pac.
Right.
You
Well, at
know
least
what
they
I
didn't do a
mean?
diss song about you or nothing.
I know,
That would've
right?
been awful.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I was deeply insecure, and just I wasn't man enough to handle that relationship.
So I gotta get over.
So he didn't say he was emasculated. That's something different than saying insecure and not mature enough. You know, that often that to be emasculated, man, whew, that's not good at all. That's putting you on the feminine side, right? But I think that was healthy in how he described it. And also you see he went into a little bit of what I said about how his image, right? The Fresh Prince, how that image played a factor or played a role in how he felt, because he was a nice guy, good guy, and then Pac was this thug. He's this image, you know, in society and in Jada's eyes.